Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. Last episode, we dealt with the game's most infamous boss, the Terrapin. Someone who's not terribly hard, but exceptionally annoying. I had to let Nina die against him too, cause he outsped her and had those AoEs. But I won in the end anyway. Got a new spell from Ray, Cure 2 for Nina, and now we're gonna do some mandatory backtracking, but first, let us read Sten's mind. I mean, not that I think we're actually gonna learn anything interesting. I mean, he really is just sort of a pervert, magician, silly monkey kind of guy, so you could say I'm just doing this for completion's sake. What you saw is what you get, and there's really nothing. Oh.
I imagine that's going to come into play later, his backstory.
It might. No point worrying about that now, though, because for now, it's Capitan. Now, Rand's roll ability, if I didn't explain this before, it does not advance the step counter, so you're encounter free for as long as it's active. The only thing is, though, the only way to stop is by running into something, and every time you do, there's a 50% chance of getting into an encounter automatically. So it's something you only want to do over long distances, and only if you're good with the controls. I'm good with the controls, but if you're not, or you just want more EXP and gold, you may wish to not use it.
What his ability reminds me of is the Mac Bike in Pokemon Emerald. That one is pretty fast, but you have to be very reactive to get anywhere.
Also, I don't get what that girl is talking about. Like, have you seen Rand? The dude's jacked. Built like a suit of armor, man.
Yeah, he's easily our biggest party leader, or I guess, party member.
Well, fortunately, when she says big, what she actually means is handsome. Handsome, yeah, that's the word. Not sure I'm liking the implications of this, but unfortunately we have to do this in order to progress with the plot.
I'm surprised this made it in.
Well, Japanese media creators are a little more liberal than American ones are. What I was more surprised by was that even the original translation had it. It's muddled a little, but you could still read between the lines.
I wonder if it was like this in the original, untranslated version.
From what I can tell, Ryusui isn't that kind of writer. He's not someone who'd throw in F-bombs every second like a lot of fan translators are. Besides, have you seen their official art? The thumbnail that I got was actually more tasteful.
Really?
Yeah? Actually, a lot of old school artwork was like that around the... Hey, not so close, you... Actually, wow, do you see how tall she is, Skyzo? She's like staring at Ryu's forehead.
I do. I'm reminded of the person who was running the arena, you know, in one of the earlier episodes. That's what she reminds me of.
Well, actually, yeah, she has the red long hair, very tall. I could see that. But yeah, this here is a callback to the first Breath of Fire. There were these guys called the Fusion Clan, and one of your party members called Karn was from it. That meant he eventually got taught how to fuse with certain other party members. The results were obscene. Like, you had this over 400 HP monster at a time when most of your other guys didn't even pass 200. You could fuse whenever you wanted to, in battle or outside of battle, so presumably this whole thing is a callback to that, just nerfed, obviously. Also make sure to get that ammonia, very helpful, and also permanently missable, so keep that in mind. And now we have the other holdover from Breath of Fire 1, the dragon forms. The most broken thing you will ever see. Well, apart from Golden Sun's summons, that still takes the cake, but still! Anyway, since this scene is gonna go on for a while, I want to go over something that some of my viewers on Something Awful brought up, the fact that I am fairly underleveled. The thing is, you are going to be able to completely, and I mean completely, break the game after the next dungeon. It's not quick, but it's an option, and I know it'll make the game way easier, so that's why. We're gonna play up to that point, and then you can decide what to do from there. And yeah, I know there's jokes I could be making, Sanemo bringing out his inner dragon, haha.
I mean, that's low-hanging fruit, though.
Yeah, and while I'm not opposed to that on principle, I mean, I did enjoy Beavis and Butthead. I feel like it's gotta be subtle enough to where a kid would miss it completely. Like, you have to at least think about it a bit first. I mean, sure, this is an old game, but a kid could conceivably buy this on the Nintendo eShop and then look at my videos for a walkthrough, so you never know. But yeah, in case you couldn't tell, Ryu is a dragon, just like the Ryu from the last game. In every Breath of Fire, there's a blue-haired guy called Ryu. He's always got draconic powers of some sort, and there's always a blonde-haired girl called Nina as well, so here we are. Anyways, our next job is to get back to Capitan without dying, but as you can see, we are all alone. We are gonna spawn at Capitan when we die, whether we saved or not, but the money loss still applies, so make sure you leave Sanemo's house with an empty wallet. Take off Ryu's armor, too, just makes things faster. You could also try to fight your way back if you can, but one, that's a lot longer and also a lot harder, so I prefer my road, but do as you will. Anyway, we've got a new problem now. Our party is mad. Like, they are really, really mad. Do you want to know how mad they are, Skyzo?
How?
These guys are so mad that they went from Capitan all the way to frickin' Township. They went halfway across the continent just to get away from us. That is a lot of anger. That is a lot of resentment. And as for the girls, I don't even know what we're gonna do about them. I mean, 1 minute she's trying to fuse with me, and the next she's asking for a laboratory with plush carpeting? I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, it's gonna be strange. I imagine they're gonna be joining the party in some way. Like maybe residing in the house.
I mean, that's assuming that we can actually convince our party to let them stay too. I mean, even Bosch isn't budging, and he wasn't even there to see the skullduggery we got up. Oh, right. He has a thing for hot girls, too. Never mind. Well, I guess they're here to stay now. Anyways, Shamans. There are 5 others besides Sanemo, and they can fuse with most other party members aside from Ryu and the secret character. When they do fuse with someone, they multiply a certain stat by about 25%. In Sanemo's case, she multiplies your attack power. And the other shamans will amplify other stats. Also, remember what I said about Ryu's love interest being somewhat contested in this game?
Well, does he have any... Like, I thought he was interested in the Catwoman that he, we met some time ago.
Well, the thing of it is, the game itself never answers which one of the two Ryu is interested in. if either of them at all. It leaves it vague up until the very end, with just some small clues that both of them harbor feelings for him. That was established all the way back in Sten's recruitment scene. Unfortunately, Ryu is a silent protagonist, except for the times when he forgets he's one, so no dice there. That said, there is always a Ryu and there's always a Nina in all of these Breath of Fire games, and in every single other one, Nina is always the one that wins. So retroactively, it's kind of a foregone conclusion.
Fair enough, and I guess, it's a good thing that they left it open, but, as you said, you already know the answer.
Anyways, we've got a carpenter to get in Capitan so they can have their lab, so childish jives aside, it's really just another section of forced padding. That's really what it comes down to, if we're being honest.
Right, so it looks like we're going to be warping.
Yep. So, just kill off Rand and then hope that Ryu doesn't counter the enemies to death, because that could happen and make this take even longer.
I wonder, I think, from what I've seen, you can attack yourself. What's the point of that?
To make ourselves die faster, because as you can see, these enemies are pretty weak.
Yeah, but I wonder if they intended this.
Probably it's to do with the sleep status, because in this game the only way to cure it, apart from winning the battle, is to whack the party member upside the head with a melee. Anyways, we've got something important to consider, our choice of carpenter, depending on how many villagers you saved. First up is the Arabian carpenter, save 5 to 6 villagers. If you ask him for a drink, he'll max out everyone's condition, and there's also some old guys that keep track of various things like the chests you opened. This one is the game carpenter, save 3 to 4 villagers. You get a board game called Othello, and you can only play via the tokens or tolens you pick up. It's got some neat stuff you can win there, for example, a staff for cat that casts lightning when you use it. But the real prize is the cooking carpenter. This is the guy who's always available, no matter what. The one who cooks items based on what you give him. Infinite gold, infinite stat boosters, biscuits or hardtacks, and a whole host of other ridiculous stuff. There is no debate as to who's better, only whether or not this guy should even be allowed at all. And he's the low effort reward. He is the one that you're always able to choose. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to let the villagers die. If you save all the villagers, you still get a choice. It's just, if you don't rescue any villagers, he's always there for you anyway. And we're gonna avoid the worst excesses of all that, partially because it's slow and partially because it involves some lost forever NPCs, but still, this guy is insane. I mean, what do you think of this, Skyzo?
Honestly, I'm not even sure how they thought that was okay. I imagine that you can use them infinitely as well. That's very abusable.
Honestly, I just don't think they play tested it all that well. I mean, the way I see it, they probably had a neat idea of the 3 carpenters do different things, and by default you get the guy that can cook you different stuff. But then the process of figuring out what he cooked for you came later. And they thought of, oh, what if he cooks this gold biscuit you can sell for 6,000, or what if you can cook this wisdom ball that can restore 100 AP, or what if you could cook a restorative that could restore all your HP, or what if you cooked this stat booster, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this and that, and that, and that, and it just sort of snowballed from there, partially so players would buy a strategy guide to figure out what they could do, but also partially because they just never went back to that original decision. Or maybe they did it on purpose, maybe because you do suck so bad as to let everyone die, you're the kind of gamer that would need the overpowered option, I don't know. But as it stands now, the only obvious barrier for cooking is time, cause like, boosting, say, your vigor to 100 before moving on, that takes quite a lot of time, especially when you consider the amount of money you'd need to spend on the ingredients. Which also means more time spent cooking gold biscuits to cover your costs. Anyways, back to the plot. That giant French-speaking frog needs our help breaking a curse, and we've also got new enemies to cover, the 2 stone faces. Oh, this is bad. They have 1 vigor, but a boatload of HP and the cold breath ability. It's rare for them to use it, but they can wipe us if they both do it at the same turn, so I want Ryu at max AP so he can kill one with a single whelp spell. You see, the dragons depend on your max AP compared to your current AP, and if you're at full, they deal 256 damage. It's elemental too, so that can be doubled to 512. And as it so happens, these guys are weak to fire attacks of all kinds, so I want Ryu to demolish one of them while the others gang up on the other. That way I can finish it off by the end of turn 2 before it can actually do anything. That way I can guarantee that I only get hit by 1 cold breath. You could also try running away, but you're still not at the point where that's totally reliable. Also, we have a free rest and save point, so make sure you visit that and save before going into this next dungeon, because the Witch's Tower is a fairly long one. But yeah, what do you think of that dragon spell, Skyzo?
I imagine the way it works, right? The dragon spell is that you can only use it once per battle.
Nope! You can use it as many times as you want, so long as you replenish your AP each and every time. Anyway, here's our next new encounter, the Androsiums and Bomb Seeds. These Bomb Seeds are one of the reasons why we saved, because it has a small 3% chance of casting the Flame or Flameblast spell, which is so ludicrously strong that I think it can one-shot everyone but Ryu and Rand, possibly even them. Fortunately, it's also very lacking in HP and has a weakness to ice, so Nina's ice spell one-shots it completely. The others are too slow to have any chance of killing it, so they pile on the Androsiums, which can use Dream Breath and put you to sleep. These are quite a bit bulkier, but also have a weakness to fire and are ultimately not much of a threat, so Bomb Seeds, top priority. Also, in retrospect, I made a mistake by trying to have Rand wake party members with his Rouse ability, because contrary to its name, it never dispels the sleep spell. All it does is revive dead party members, so keep that in mind.
That's simple enough.
Now, let's go over our party setup. First of all, Rand is indispensable for his ability to heal people, cure poison, and even revive dead party members. Like, that is worth more than gold at this point. Sten is also coming along for his Silver Knife, which allows him to one-shot a certain enemy inside the tower, and plus, he's fairly fast and relatively bulky, so he's also got that. And finally, Nina is going to put that new Will plus Cure 2 trick to use. All of the enemies here can be easily neutralized in one way or another, so I can afford to just spend turns recovering her AP. So she's got infinite healing, basically. But anyways, this is Fiona Day Quester signing out. Have a nice day and God bless.
Okay, I'll catch you later, YouTube.
Bye.